Hello and welcome back for a belated Libra season video. I apologize for not doing this sooner. I was couch surfing for like a month and yeah, it just seemed awkward to be doing this kind of thing in other people's houses. So I have finally moved back home and I have my own room to do this in. So yeah, that's why this is happening. I'm releasing this right at the beginning of Scorpio season. The Scorpio video will come. I do promise that. But yeah, today we are unpacking Libra stereotypes. Now, I was very excited but kind of nervous about this one because Libras are the one astrology sign that I would say I understand the least. I understand them as a concept, but when it comes to real world life experiences with Libras, I guess I just don't know that many Libras. Yeah, and I actually was in September hanging around quite a lot of Libras, so it's kind of interesting to get to know the energy of Libra and try to kind of psychologically unpack why Libras do the things that they do, why there are stereotypes out there about them. The biggest stereotype I kind of come across with Libras is that Libras are fakers, or they're just like double-faced, kind of like Geminis. They have so many personalities that you don't know like who they actually are. And I think this is why I and other people often have a hard time deciphering Libras, like spotting them out in the wild, because they are so good at blending in. It's their specialty, if you will. Libras are all about balance, as you may know. So they are going to try their darndest to balance and match your energy in order for you to have a very harmonious, very fun, vibey conversation and interaction. They want to make sure it's as good as it could be, and that involves them kind of shape shifting into another version of themselves in order to like have a successful interaction. Now, yes, I can see how this could come across as kind of fake and kind of like, I can't really trust you because you keep flitting around from personality to personality depending on who you're talking to. And it's not always like on purpose. Like, yes, there's Libras that would maybe take that to their advantage, kind of like Mean Girls-esque, where they're pretending to like you kind of thing. They're very much people pleasers and want to come across as like good people, which may not always be the case. But this just stems from a deeply rooted insecurity complex, if you will. I'm not saying all Libras are like insanely insecure, but kind of where the whole like faking it comes from. The thing is that I've heard people describe, at least online, that Libras are like the kind to be really, really nice to you, like in person, like in front of you, and then like behind your back, they like talk shit about you and stuff like that. And again, that just comes from a lot of insecurities because so Libras, again, all about balance, and they care a lot about the people around them because Libra, connected to the seventh house, is all connected to the other. So they're very aware of what is taboo in like their community, in like the system that they're living in. They're very aware of what is right and what is wrong, and they want to make sure that they're at least coming across as they're doing very much the right thing. So if they see like someone do something that is like a wrong action, or they see something wrong in it, then they're very much going to judge that person harshly and maybe gossip about them to like, because you know, people that spread gossip in that malicious way are typically just trying to take the attention away from them because maybe they feel like they've done things wrong and that they feel guilty about, but they don't want people to like know about that, you know. And so they're kind of scapegoating, if you will. Yeah, they're very obsessed with doing the right thing, like, you know. It's not black and white, but ironically, Libras can have very black and white thinking despite them being about balance and stuff. It's like just if there's a Libra that is out of alignment, then of course they're going to be very much out of balance. That's another thing that I want to touch on about Libras and how they kind of people, but Libras, out of all the other signs, care the most about like other people, the external, how those people are affecting their lives, how they're affecting others' lives. They really take a lot of care and consideration about dynamics, about systems, about just vibes between people. They're very, very hyper aware of that. And they are an air sign, so yeah, that makes a lot of sense that they are very good at socializing and very aware of socializing and, you know, so social interactions, to the point where it's almost they're too obsessive with this, which can lead down not so great paths. They are very much focused on the external compared to the internal, compared to the other air signs, Aquarius and Geminis. Geminis and Aquariuses, I feel like, are more kind of happy, focusing on their internal world, but Libras, out of all the air signs, are the most focused on the external world, and usually within their mind, like what's taking up most of their mind space is thinking about other people in their lives, thinking about external situations, usually to do with people that happening in their lives, and they're kind of dissecting them, thinking about them. Yeah, their mind is typically very much occupied by those kind of problems and situations. They love to like speculate. They love thinking about new ideas, just like Aquarius and Gemini folk do. I'd like to compare it and contrast it and connect it to people that they know, situations that they know, dynamics, etc., rather than basing it back to themselves. Now, another kind of funny stereotype that Libras tend to have is that Libras are like prissy or pretentious, which, yeah, honestly, like, their sexism plays a big role in Libras. I might get into that into another video, but yeah, I think Libra women are often a lot more kind of shat upon in society, but so yeah, Libras, they are seen as very charming, very elegant. They really like to present themselves to the highest degree that they can, to present themselves as well as they can, because they really appreciate and value beauty. Very Venus energy, very chic, and they're like wearing very like put together things. Maybe they have like expensive taste, and so they can come across as kind of pretentious and feels like, oh, they're better than you because they know how to dress themselves and have a lot of pride in that. However, like, a Libra person is not going to automatically be a wealthy person or come from a place of wealth, but they do make it look like they appear as wealthy, which to a Libra, they have succeeded if they come across as very kind of well put together. So it is not that all Libras actually are prissy or pretentious and like very particular, which like some can be, but it's just that they really love beauty. They love kind of like beauty regimens and stuff. They love the social aspect of having, you know, certain beauty products and stuff that you can talk about with other people and can connect through. You know, they could be very much more into brands compared to other signs. It's not a hard and fast rule. That's just something I kind of noticed. Also, I've just noticed that Libra risings are all extremely attractive people, and they're all like the hottest person in the room in a way that's very like, oh, I could never touch you. Like, you are so perfect and you are aware of it, but you're not like over the top about it. Another very big stereotype for Libras is that Libras can't pick a side, or that Libras are indecisive. One important thing to know about Libras is that they hate disruption between people, groups, their friends, whatever, because they are all about keeping the balance and the harmony, because that's how they like it, and they see the value in keeping the balance, because disruption creates not so pretty things, and just why would you choose to argue if you could just kind of compromise, you know, so everyone's kind of happy, rather than someone being miserable and then another person being like really high on their horse. Anyways, Libras are often the people to act as the middle ground, act as like the Switzerland, if you will, where they're very neutral, which this can kind of frustrate people because it feels like they never pick sides. They never like support their friends, or like can't always be guaranteed to be loyal to the friend's opinions, because you're not just going to kind of blindly pick a side. They kind of really are very good at seeing both perspectives, seeing both sides, seeing the like understanding where people are coming from. Even if like one side or one problem is like more problematic than the other, they're very good at seeing different points of view. Also just want to bring back the peace as soon as possible. Like that is their highest priority. If they're ever seeing conflict or argument between people, especially loved ones, they're going to be the one to be like, hey, like, let's talk this through. Let's talk about like what your perspective on this, and then your perspective, and then maybe find compromise within this. With the whole indecisive thing, this is often true with Libras. Libras are like very indecisive. Part of this is because Libras are very, very good at predicting future outcomes from the decisions that they make, from the things that they choose. They're very good at seeing the pros and cons of every single thing that could, happen from making a decision, or even like, buying a certain product. They see the pros and cons of that, yada yada. And so they can see things at all angles, which can be actually very overwhelming, knowing everything, kind of having that like very like objective, or like omni I don't know. This can be very overwhelming, and then send them kind of into a freeze situation where they're like, I don't know, I can't pick, I don't know what to do. So it's like, if they are deciding between, like, if all the options are really good, that's kind of a Libra's worst nightmare. And if all the options are all bad, that's also kind of nightmarish, because they're very good at determining, seeing like, okay, this thing obviously has more pros and this has a lot more cons, so like easy decision. But it comes to like, well, both of these are really good things, like how could I possibly choose? Yeah, because they are always trying to pick the one that will cause the least disruption and the most harmony. Okay, so the last stereotype that I'm going to unpack today is that Libras are codependent. And yes, Libra, with it being in the 7th house, is all about the other. So I often find that Libras are in codependent relationships, or very just dependent on other people. And part of this is because, well, not only do they love people and just interacting with them, but in order to see and understand sides of themselves, they kind of like need us to see other people in order to fully understand those sides. Let me often see parts of themselves within people, and that's kind of how they understand and uncover parts of themselves. And it's a lot harder for them to do that alone, because yeah, they really understand themselves through the perspective of connection and through another person, if that makes any sense. So out with people and being in like relationships with people is very, very important to a Libra, because if they're not in those, it feels like a part of themselves is kind of vacant or void and is not there, which can feel very unfulfilling. And so I find that a lot of Libras, or people with heavy Libra placements, struggle with knowing themselves, having a secure sense of self, just because they see themselves so much in others, don't really truly know who they are by themselves. They also really enjoy and need to be like mentally stimulated and have very like intellectual conversations, talking about ideas, things happening in the world. Libras are also could be the kinds of really like reality TV shows and kind of like drama in that way. So it's like, if they don't have someone to talk to about that kind of stuff and stuff that they enjoy, then they just kind of feel very husky. I mean, they feel like a husk of themselves, because they can't express things that they really love, which is kind of an extension to themselves. So it's like hard to separate people from their sense of self. Yeah. I hope I did somewhat justice. And the justice card is associated to Libras. But yeah, I hope I did somewhat justice to Libras and the stereotypes that are associated to them. I'm definitely like the least confident when it comes to Libra energy, but when I was writing down notes, I was like, okay, I actually know a little bit more than I thought. But if you have anything more to add, or if you think I missed anything, please put your thoughts and your own like observations in the comments. That would be so great. Yeah, I will see you so soon for the Scorpio video, which I'm very excited because Scorpios are one of my favorite signs. So, yay! Yeah, I really hope all of that made like coherent sense because I never can tell. Okay, bye.